4 Socialist Party members have been banned from holding office in Unison, the public sector workers' union, for 3 to 5 years by a Unison disciplinary committee. The attacks on the 4 Unison members have nothing to do with the trumped-up charges levelled against them, and everything to do with eliminating any opposition to the Unison leadership, and specifically any opposition from the Socialist Party.
In this region, where literally the witch hunt is at its most rabid, led by unelected full-time officials.
The 4, Glenn Kelly, Branch Secretary Bromley Unison and Unison National Executive, Olney Kassab, Branch Secretary Greenwich Unison, Suzanne Mooner, Branch Secretary Unison Tenant Services Authority, and Brian Debus, Branch Chair Hackney Unison, held a Defend the 4 meeting in London today to protest. They announced that they would be appealing against the bans. Chairing the meeting in a personal capacity was Branch Secretary of Southwark Unison, April Ashley, newly elected to the National Executive Committee of Unison.
Instead of turning, their fire, to take on the bosses, attacking the bosses, they're, attacking our comrades in this Richmond.
Of a meeting of all the London officials, a so-called training course, it was described that the second day of the training course turned out to be, literally, with the intent of dealing with, and quote, the problem of Trotskyist activists was indeed part of the course of what was expected of us. Those are the words that were mouthed by the London Regional Secretary of Unison, a full-time official on £50,000 plus a year of our members' money, who hasn't had to see sight of a ballot box in literally decades or more, plotting and planning the removal of elected branch officials in this trade union.
Let me just say why I'm here. I wanted to be here physically in solidarity with those who have been victimised by the union and in solidarity with this campaign. I went through all that period where you watched those individual unions destroyed by forms of Stalinist bureaucracy that were closing down any forms of activism. But we've not seen it on this scale before. As a Member of Parliament, there's responsibilities that you have to use Parliament. And I think it's now time that we take this issue onto the floor of the House of Commons as well to expose what's going on.
So I've already done my shift in Deptford Job Centre, and even though it looks like it won't be closed, can you please sign the petition on the...
Tony Ray, PCS-DWP London Regional Secretary, explained how his union leadership, once so right-wing it was linked to the CIA, was overthrown and now has a socialist leadership, and agreed with the 4 that this is precisely what the current right-wing Unison leadership fear. Support came from John Rogers, Branch Secretary of Lambeth Unison and Unison NEC, speaking in a personal capacity.
It's an absolute disgrace that these 4 comrades have been found guilty on these trumped-up charges and been suspended from holding office. But actually, the campaign is already achieving results, because I don't doubt for a minute that when they started this witch hunt, they were looking to expel the 4.
Indicating the wide-ranging support for the campaign, Austin Harney from Barnet Trades Council and John Burgess, Branch Secretary of Barnet Unison,
I want
spoke.
to give total support to these comrades here. Brave, committed trade unionists, and I want to just echo that at a time when the public sector worker is suddenly being made responsible for the recession.
Defend the 4 should be on ballot papers. If we stand under that banner. We should stand and put that forward as a fighting strategy against this bureaucracy.
Nancy Taff, Waltham Forest Unison, called for an election strategy, and Hugo Pierre, Camden Unison, who represented the 4 at their disciplinary hearings, and Brian Debus, called for an ejection from office of the unelected Unison officials that they face.
And that will mean having the election and the removal of those officials who are not prepared to stand and fight on our behalf.
Summing up the meeting, Glenn Kelly declared,
And I am absolutely convinced that given all that we face, given the battles that are going to take place, the tide is turning with us and against them. Our members are going with us and against them. We can't predict the outcomes of court cases and court trials, but I repeat, I'm absolutely confident that this is a union that is there to be won for the ordinary members to ensure that it's a genuine, democratic and fighting union. Thanks very much.